Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Builder series where we get to talk to people creating the future of AI. And one thing that's amazing about the future of AI is that it's something anyone can participate in, which is why we are so excited to have Nikita Khandwala here, who can help us talk a little bit about careers, AI, and more. Now, this Turophile will not only tell you the best cheese to get in London, but she will tell you the best place to get a job, what's coming down the road, what the future of education looks like, and maybe, just maybe, even come and wave to your children on camera. So, Nikita, it's so great to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Scott. Excited to chat all things AI.
I know, and I mean, I think the first and most important question is, as a turophile who loves cheese, what's going to happen in the future? Are you looking for an AI generated cheese to perfectly hit your palate?
Oh my goodness, that would really be the dream. You know what I would love is an AI tool that would recommend me the best cheese in London, exactly where to get it, and in which sequence to visit the various
Ah,
course of a day or a week. That would be maybe that's the next thing to build, actually.
yeah, that's amazing. Well, sequence, great way to think about things, because I think in this new world, the sequence of learning and getting a job is really uh, foreign to us. Like, you are now working with people who call themselves generalists. So tell us a little bit about what you're building with Generalist World and why people need this.
For sure. So I have a bit of a portfolio career. So I work on a few different projects across the future of work and the education space. And for the last few months, I've been working with the amazing team at Generalist World, which is a community of around, I think now about 400 to 500 mid to senior career self-professed generalists. So basically, everyone from kinds of heads of strategy and innovation at tech companies, startups and scale ups, all the way to kind of maybe more junior founder associates, chief of staffs, etc. And the reason that Millie Tamati, the founder of the community, built it in the first place was because our world of work and our labor market has such a bias towards specialists, right? I don't know if you've ever read David Epstein's book Range. It's one of my favorite
Yeah.
books, but it essentially uses case studies from across, the world of acting, sports, etc., to exemplify the role that generalists have in pushing forward innovation, in creating expertise that specialists often can't do alone. And so I joined the community, I think last summer, and loved it so much that Millie and I decided to work together. And since then, I've been helping her create products and solutions, including AI driven ones that I'm sure we'll go on to talk about in a sec, that will essentially help both generalists on one side of the labour market and employers on the other side of the labour market hire top generalists, for generalists to find great generalist roles, to understand how they can actually craft a cohesive narrative about their unique squiggly career path in a way that might be slightly easier for a specialist to do generally.
Right. And so, what is AI adding to these generalists and the labor market broadly? Like, why does it matter?
I think it matters in a few different ways. I can maybe start with the more specific use cases that we've been testing and then go more broad. But essentially, what we found in speaking to a lot of generalists, both in and outside of the community, was that one of the trickiest challenges generalists face is articulating their unique value proposition to an employer. As a specialist, it's easy to say, I'm that product person, I'm that marketing person. These are the projects, these are the metrics that I've hit, these are the things I have to my name. But as a generalist, because you have done such a diverse array of things in your career, and often for an external person, it's really difficult sometimes to understand how does that connect to that, and why did you do that random thing in the middle. It's difficult for people to understand that actually that collection of experiences is actually much more powerful than having taken a linear path a lot of the time. So where AI comes in is really helpful is actually helping generalists make sense of these squiggly career paths or
Mm.
portfolio careers in a way that generalists haven't really been taught to do. But I actually think the use of AI goes beyond just generalists, in so much as if you ask pretty much any relatively junior to maybe even mid-level person in their career, a lot of people find it very difficult to articulate, who they are as a professional. If I had to if I asked you, Scott, what's your one-liner bio that you say at the beginning of a podcast to introduce yourself? Maybe because you've been doing this for a while, you have a good one. But a lot of people haven't really thought that through. And I think AI is excellent at taking, a holistic look at the different experiences you have and really identifying what are the patterns, what are the commonalities between the types of problems you've solved, the challenges that you face, the unique approaches that you've taken, and then crafting, whether it's a narrative, a CV, a job description that kind of uniquely fits you or whatever you're trying to market.
That's amazing. I love the idea of AI as a mirror, right? Like we think about it more like a strategic partner or a speech coach to help you craft your narrative is a powerful use case. I'm curious what you're seeing at one of your positions with the London Interdisciplinary School with AI. Like, how is that changing a little bit more traditional, education? Even though I know LIS is not on the traditional side of the spectrum of education, potentially it still is, a university, right? So how is AI changing things there, and what do you kind of imagine happening in the next 3 to 5 years here?
Yeah, again, as I'm sure you know, there are so many different trends that we're seeing. And I think one of the key things for our students who are kind of across undergrad and masters is they're thinking heavily about how AI is going to influence the future of work. And
Mm.
therefore, how can they build what I call self-efficacy skills to enable them to thrive, whatever the future of work throws at them and whatever an AI-driven future of work throws at them. So the idea, and this has been kind of validated by a lot of different future of skills reports, whether that's LinkedIn or Nesta or whatever, is that actually the top skills in the next 3 to 5 years that businesses really care about seeing, and these are mainly corporates that I think this particular study from LinkedIn was done on, are actually 7 out of 10 of those skills are self-efficacy skills. So things like empathy, compassion, cross-functional communication, leadership, resilience, adaptability, things that we historically think of as soft skills, although I don't really like that term, rather than more technical skills. So I think it was only 3 of the 10 skills that were technical that companies are really looking for and prioritizing in the next few years. And I think that goes to show that we know that AI is going to play an incredibly significant role in the future of work. But I'm a big advocate of hybrid teams. And when I say hybrid teams, I mean teams that are made up both of AI agents and of human professionals. And I think the ability to work in a hybrid team or lead a hybrid team is going to be heavily dependent on a professional's ability to really build those self-efficacy skills and be a lifelong learner. So using AI as your learning co-pilot to build curriculums for you as you advance through the various stages of your career, or using it, as you say, Scott, as a mirror to help kind of coach you, be a strategic partner as you think about new ways that you can develop your business with AI or develop your product lines. I think when it comes to the future of work, that's a lot of what we're thinking about at LIS. There's also the more education focused side of things, in so much as our faculty and our academics are thinking a lot about how assessment changes in the face of AI. How can we give students the freedom and the empowerment to know that actually it's great in a lot of cases to be leveraging AI, but actually how can you use it in a way that's going to make your output even more interesting, effective, and reflective of kind of the current world that we're living in without letting it dictate, all of your thinking or govern how you move forward with a certain project.
I think that's going to be the big challenge, right? Is wielding the power without losing the skill. And it'll be fascinating to see best practices. So I would love to hear, you're not only building a community and building kind of the future of education and work, but you're also building AI tools using Chipp. So I would love to hear a little bit about how Generalist World is using Chipp and what that provides you, that you maybe couldn't find elsewhere.
For sure. So the reason that I started using Chipp was because Millie, as I mentioned, from Generalist World, and I were thinking about the best way that we could build something that would help any generalist in the community craft a cohesive narrative about their path, as I mentioned earlier. And this was kind of the number one problem that generalists were coming to us with when they were in the midst of the job hunt. They just said, whether I'm in an interview, whether I just meet someone on LinkedIn or a networking event, I just don't know how to tell my story, and I don't know how to make it resonate with different sorts of audiences. And so we first thought, okay, let's make a GPT, because we started to get this feedback along when, I can't even remember what month it was last year, but when GPTs were released publicly and assistants, etc. So we tried that, but we realized quite quickly that there was no way to actually either monetize the GPT or give our users in the community access to the GPT for free if they didn't have a ChatGPT premium account. And so naturally, we were looking for an alternative solution and decided to try out Chip. And what we were super grateful that we were able to do with Chip was we essentially recreated super easily the GPT by using a very similar prompt. And the kind of how-to videos on Chip were super useful in enabling us to do that in literally under 5 minutes. So it was super time effective and basically did exactly what we wanted. And then another feature that we particularly found useful is actually being able to see all of the users that had actually used our Chip bot. And I think we're up to about 69 or 70 people who've used it now, which is great. So that was the initial use case that we started with, but we've got some really great feedback from community members about how valuable that's been. And I would love to share some of that with you afterwards. But I think what we realized when we got that feedback was there's room for us to create more of these different bots for very specific use cases that our community members can use. So maybe the first one is around crafting that narrative of your professional story. But a second one is this idea of, as a generalist, you sometimes find yourself applying to jobs that don't actually exist yet. You know, there's not a job description out there. So you kind of create your own. So what would it look like to have a bot on Chip where you could kind of put in, let's say, the name of a digital entrepreneur or a business that you were really excited about, the core problems or challenges you thought they were facing, and it could generate a job description for you that was specific to how your skills could map onto the problems that the company wanted to solve. And so, I mean, that's just one example of a potential use case. But that's why I was excited to see Chip collections come out as well, because I think we're going to be able to make really good use of that.
That's amazing. And you are seeing lots of people use this in a, generalist who you don't necessarily know what their background. So what has surprised you, talking to your members, like after they've used Chip or used AI generally, like what's kind of surprising from watching users actually take action?
I don't know if the word is surprising or more just really humbling and gratifying, but some of the feedback we've got from members is that they couldn't quite believe their eyes at how accurate the output was. And not just accurate, but how well understood they felt by the bot. And the answers that, whether it was the original GPT or the Chip bot was coming back with, were, I think so much more than they could have imagined from maybe having a conversation with a regular human coach or having a conversation with an ex-colleague who knows them to, quite a significant extent. So I think the quality of the output is something that's really, really been impressive to our users. And more than that, the ease of actually just using Chip. And because its interface feels seamless and familiar, it's not too far off what they're used to in terms of previous AI tools that they might have used. I think that really helps as well. It doesn't feel like this kind of scary, intimidating new tool that they've got to learn to use. It's very intuitive. So I think that's been really helpful.
Yeah. And we're at recording this at the beginning of 2024. So you have a new year in front of you. So what are you looking forward to building in 2024? And maybe to take that one step further, people listening, what would you tell them about starting to build, whether it's a community or a bot or a company or whatever it might be? Like, what have you kind of learned through this process of building?
Oh, so many things. I think if I were to point out one thing I'm excited about, and also it kind of doubles as a piece of advice to people thinking about starting to build in Chip or other AI tooling, is that I think in 2024, we're going to see a lot more businesses realize that they can use AI tooling to turn their specific USP into something really, really scalable that their clients, their end users, whichever stakeholders that they want can actually work with. And what I mean by that is, I'll give you a concrete example of something I'm thinking about from the lens of the university LIS that I work with. We are starting to work with a lot more B2B clients to basically create professional, interdisciplinary professional development courses for various quite large organizations. And a lot of these organizations are thinking about how they can equip their internal teams with interdisciplinary problem solving skills so that they can actually apply what they're learning in a real world context. Sorry. And one idea that I've been ruminating on is, what would it look like to build a collection of tools in Chipp, let's say, that an organization could use for different use cases. So whether that is, I want to train my employees on their interdisciplinary problem solving skills, or I want to apply XYZ interdisciplinary framework to this specific problem. I think that, the LIS brain trust or kind of unique source can be scaled beyond the brick and mortar institution. And I think that's incredibly exciting, particularly because the barrier to building is so low. And I think, I guess one prediction for 2024 I have is that a lot more businesses are going to start to jump on this bandwagon. There are some challenges that come with that, of course, in that it's a lot more difficult to defend a lot of these things, and you have to really think about the defensibility and how you're going to weave that in, which I'm sure you're aware of. But I still think it's a really exciting opportunity to continue experimenting, to try new things, and really see what sticks for your community, for your audience, for your customer base.
Yeah, I love that. And I think all of us have community, we're in communities. And I think that idea of being able to scale that community's knowledge, whether it's, within a physical community like Fargo where I am, or if it's like the generalist world where you're gathering like-minded people across the world. So it's going to be exciting to see how this grows and develops. And I would encourage everyone to check out generalist.world, where you can read more about Nikita, get connected with the community. And if you're looking for knowledge at the intersection of AI, education, the future of work, Nikita is your woman to follow. So Nikita Khandwala, it was so great to have you on. Thanks for being here. We look forward to seeing what you build in 2024.
Thanks so much for having me, Scott, and wishing you all the best with Chipp.